Hi students, in this video we're going to continue where we left off from lecture 2 on summarizing and give you a demonstration on how you can summarize one of the articles in your readings this week. The summary that we're going to do is going to be on the article, What are the skills that every 18-year-old needs? That's your second reading. It's not your reading for your summary assignment, but it should give you the demonstration for the skills that you need to do your assigned readings and summarize one of those. So we have a couple resources for this demonstration. One is the website itself that you're seeing right here. Two is the notes from the lecture. So this is the second lecture in day 4 on summarizing. Next, I have a notes app that will help me take notes on my readings. And of course, the article itself. So what we're going to start with is finding the right article. And if you go to the link, you'll see this page right here. Notice that it's from the website Quora. And it would be a good idea to know what that is, because one of the factors that we have to consider is the rhetorical context. So this one. We have to consider who published it, where was it published, and who is the intended audience. So if you remember from the lecture video, we're looking for someone who is the former dean, and we know it's published in Quora, but we may not know what that is yet. And the intended audience, we're guessing it's for students or young adults. It may also be intended for parents too, who are, have young adults as their children, or teachers who are teaching and working with young adults. Let's find out. So if we scroll down the article, we have the title here. And we have the website here. And then we have an author. It seems like she is a New York Times bestseller, and she is the former dean. So that's her. So let's double check if this is the person. So in the example, we see a former Yale dean, and the last name matches, Lifcott Himes. And interestingly, it says 8 skills. And yes, it is the article that we're reading, skills every 18-year-old needs. So far so good. It looks like we found the right article. We'll scroll down a bit more. Let's see how many skills there are. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. We found the right one. Alright, so we've looked at so far the author. She writes books. She used to teach in a university. We looked at what the article is about. Now let's take a look at Quora. Why is this person publishing this article here in this platform? So I just click on the website itself and see what kind of information it has. So it's a website that has feeds and talks about a number of different topics. So it has topics from fiction like Lord of the Rings, Also has psychology, technology, science, history, music, books, health, movies, food, and education. So it talks about a number of things. It even has articles on anime, and these seem to change every day, because I looked at it yesterday and it was talking about Lord of the Rings. So it seems to be a sort of social media platform where you can post discussions like us on Canvas, but on any topics that you feel like you want to talk about. Perhaps the author has posted it here, and I'm going to click back, because she knows that this is a website that people go to for information that they like to read and or post, and so she wants to give her advice to any readers who are reading this, be it students or parents or teachers, on what skills young adults need to be successful. And we counted that there are 8 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So far, if we use our notes, we can have some details already. We can have the title, skills that every 18-year-old needs. Okay, so you got the title, good. You can have the author. So sometimes you might need to go back and forth to find the name. Livkov Hyams. So I'm going to do something like this. It's better for me to remember. Can I do that? There. When you use paper and print it out, you can actually just look at the pieces of paper. It's a lot easier than it is on the computer if you don't know how to do it. But the idea is you should have the information ready at hand. So there's the author, and I just wrote the last name. And then she's the author. And she's, well, whatever details you have in your notes, if you think it's relevant, it's going to help you. So, former Stanford, and that's a university. Oh. Stanford dean. A dean is someone who works at the university, who manages the teachers as well as the department. Okay. And she's posting this in the Quora. So it's a website. And we know that she has 8 skills that she suggests for young adults to learn if they want to be successful. Notice this article just lists the skills and the details for each one. She doesn't really have a thesis statement. However, you can find it at the end here. Sometimes you have to search through the document or the article to find what they're trying to say. I'm going to zoom in here. After writing all the skills, she adds this point. Remember, our kids must be able to do all of these things without resorting to calling a parent on the phone. If they're calling us to ask how, they do not have the life skill. So, does this read like a thesis statement? Probably not, but it may tell us what she's trying to say, that the kids must be able to do these things, so to practice these life skills. Okay, and it turns out that this is a book that she's written, How to Raise an Adult. Break free of the over-parenting trap and preparing your kids for success. So, having read this, we learn that the intended audience, at least in the book, is for parents and how to raise an adult. But for us, in this article, the audience is more than just parents. It includes anyone who reads it, and that includes you and me now. Now, you may be tempted at this point to write down what the skills are and try to paraphrase or summarize the skills, and that might not be a bad idea to start. However, remember, if you're just paraphrasing all 8 skills, you're not summarizing really, you're just paraphrasing. But at least let's start there and find out what the 8 skills are. Let's take a look at the first one. The first one reads, an 18-year-old must be able to talk to strangers. Sometimes the writer would use bold letters to make you look at these words first, and usually the topic or the title or something. So that's a good place to start. An 18-year-old must be able to talk to strangers. So they want us to do something here. So the young adult should be able to talk to people they don't know. The details continue and talks about, what could the stranger be? Well, it could be faculty, deans, advisors. So these are people that, are in college or university. Here, what I've done is, instead of paraphrasing all 3 of these things, I've summarized this group of people, faculty, deans, and advisors, into, let's say, people who work in a college or university. Then you have landlords, store clerks, human resource managers, co-workers, bank tellers, healthcare providers, bus drivers, mechanics in the real world. So, strangers be a good idea to start if you're thinking about how to summarize all these examples. But the author is giving us different types of people that you may want to talk to and be able to talk to. It's because you're going to meet these people in real life. So at least we know that one of the skills that an 18-year-old should have, according to this person, is the ability to talk to people, especially strangers. And she has in this section the crutch. Well, let's read it. We teach kids not to talk to strangers instead of teaching them more nuanced skill of how to discern the few bad strangers. Discern being the verb here. You can check what this word means. From the mostly good ones. Thus, kids end up not knowing how to approach strangers, another verb, respectfully and with eye contact. So some of the skills there on how to approach strangers. So that's the how here. How respectfully and to look at them. And why? To get help, to get guidance, and to get direction that they need. Maybe they want to find a particular room. Maybe they want to know how to do something, register for a course, or know which course they want to register for, or how to complete an assignment. And in the real world, most of these people are strangers. They're not your friends, but they are professionals who are here to help you. Notice all these people, they work. Faculty, deans, advisors, landlords. Even a landlord is someone who works. So maybe another word to summarize these good strangers would be professionals. People who work for money, or at least for a living. So there's our first skill. And practicing level 1, 2 in free reading in order would help you understand not only the words in the sentence, but also let you paraphrase and summarize the content in each skill. So I'm going to start writing things down now. So here, I'm going to make this larger. So I'm going to put 8 skills because I know the author has written 8. And I'll start with this first one, the ability to talk to. Now, you have some choice here about what to put. You can, if you put strangers, then it reads almost too much like this. Be able to talk to strangers. So here it's a different sentence. A person must be able to talk to strangers. And this is a bit of paraphrasing skill here. I changed be able to into the ability to. So now it's a skill. Ability is another word for skill. So I might be able to change this word based on what we talked about. Well, these strangers, well, they are good strangers. I'll put quotation here for now. Instead of the few bad ones that may be out to hurt you, but these are the ones that are here to help you. Who can help you. So I could change this to perhaps to professionals. So the ability is to talk, and then I've just given my interpretation on the author's words without changing the meaning too much. So the 18-year-old must be able to talk to professionals who can help them. I can take out the help you, so then it can just be professionals who can help. So that's kind of the first skill. And then there are examples, and I'll use a bit of the space there. So if I were to give examples for this, this would be, I could list some. Faculty, maybe, who else? So advisors, maybe landlord. So I chose 3 of the ones that I can remember, and three examples out of many that would be the best. And that way, instead of listing all of them, I just choose the ones that are the best suited, that fit the most in my summary. All right, let's continue. The second skill. An 18-year-old must be able to find his way around. So that's the skill there. Okay, so this is talking about locating or finding something in different places. So where? Well, here are the places that the author lists. A campus where you study. She also uses an example of the town in which her summer internship is located. So internship is a type of job. Doesn't say what job she's working, but it's a type of work. It's paid or unpaid, but you're working in a company to learn how it works and how to do a particular job. So so this is more like a workplace or work environment. So we have maybe a school or workplace, because you might be working. And this one goes a bit beyond that. The city where he, well, in this case he or she, I guess, See, even the author is using a gender noun here. Is working or studying abroad. So again, it seems to be a theme that the places where a student or young adult would most likely find themselves in, where they need to, have the right directions to go where they want to go, is in either a school or in a place of work. Now let's see what other information can we find in this skill. She gives the rationale here in this crutch. We can check what that word means as well. So we, and that's parents, drive and accompany our children everywhere. I have a 2-year-old boy, so I understand this. You can ask your parents too. See if they still drive you around, but probably not. But you probably had been driven before in the past. So not only do parents drive them, sometimes other people like a bus might drive them too. But notice that there are other ways for students to get to where they want to go. So it's like a bus, or they can go by themselves, either on a bicycle or on a skateboard or hoverboard, or at least you can walk there. So it keeps going. Kids don't know, kids being young adults, don't know the route, so that's direction. And getting from here to there, so where they want to go. And how to cope with transportation options. So you can check what this word means if you don't know that. This means how to get there. And snafu is technically an acronym. Won't go into that right now. When and how to fill up the car with gas. If you drive, you may have to consider this. And how to make and execute transportation plans. This is probably a skill that you probably have as an international student, so good for you. But not everybody has this skill. But you would find it in your experience an important skill nonetheless. But remember, we're trying to find out what the author is saying. And the author wants young adults to have this skill of being able to go from one place to another, knowing how and where they should go. So now it's my turn. Again, writing on the paper itself would help me remember what I'm trying to write in the notes. So again, the ability to go where they need to be. That's my paraphrase. So notice it's very different from, at least the words are different. Instead of saying know their way around, which is more of an idiom, I just use a simpler form, go where they need to be. So what are some examples of this? Well, school, work. Also include things like, what are some factors in going where they need to be? Well, there's directions, and then, well, I would say mode of transportation. So that's number 2. And this is an important process. Notice that I'm taking this pretty slowly, taking one skill at a time, and I can't make any groups yet because I've only done 2 of them. But as I read more and take notes on this, the more likely am I going to be in making groups out of these skills. So I'm going to keep going. Okay, third one sounds pretty good. An 18-year-old must be able to manage his assignments, workload, and deadlines. So the key thing here in the skills, it seems to be a verb. The skills involve doing something. So if you can find the right verb for each skill, and these should be different, and understand what that means, you're much better off in summarizing the skills. So this is, you might think of words like time management. Right now I'm just writing what I'm thinking. And the nice thing about taking notes is you can always change it or erase it if you read more and you go, oh wait, that's not right, or oh, I might need to make some changes here. So it's not just time management, although it is part of that. So what you're doing, the student needs to do homework, and workload may include school and job, you know. And deadlines, well, those could be assignments, projects, exams, and you have those definitely. You have one every week. You have an assignment every week. You have quizzes and you have exams. And the idea is to manage all of them. Make sure you do them all and make sure you spend time doing it. Let's see what else the author is saying. He's saying the young adult should be able to manage by himself or herself. And if we read the crutch, we might find out why. Parents, again, so we're starting to get to see a pattern. It seems that the author is a parent herself, and she's writing to other parents. So she's trying to talk to other parents by relating to them, so she uses the word we. Parents. Okay. Remind kids. And that's what parents like to call their children. So young adults. So if this was assigned and you were to summarize this and you use the word, let's say parents and kids, well, I would know that you haven't really thought about it from your perspective because you're thinking about it from the author's perspective. So just be careful when you're reading the assigned article as well. Although the assigned article is a bit easier because it's written for young adults. All right, remind kids. So that's their verb. Notice for the young adult, their job or verb is to manage their time. The parents, what they end up doing is to remind the kids and manage their time for them. So it seems that the parents are doing the kids' job at this point based on the sentence. So it includes things like homework. So assignments, see that? When to do it. So that's like a deadline, you see? And sometimes even helping them do it. So that takes away their workload. Or worse, doing it for them. So same thing. Thus, kids don't know how to prioritize tasks. So managing time and assignments would involve prioritizing. If you don't know what this word means, you can check in the dictionary as well. So again, manage, that seems to be a key word. Meet deadlines without regular reminders. So that means the parents no longer need to tell them when to do it or even do it for them, but the kids can, or the young adult would be able to manage the time themselves and do the assignment on their own. So they would be responsible. So some key verbs for this would be to manage, would be to prioritize. Meet would be to complete the assignment. So we know that. Some nouns that are important would be assignments, workloads, and deadlines. Set tasks as well. So let's take a look. Let's see how we might be able to write this in our own notes. The ability to well, here I'm trying to think of another word besides manage. So it may be prioritize. It may be to complete tasks. For now, if you're stuck, you can always just use the word and try and figure out how to change it later. Manage their time to do what they need to do. I'm trying to use simpler language here, so I wrote the ability to manage, so I kept that for now, but the rest of it are my words, their time to do what they need to do. So I would go where they need to be and do what they need to do. And some examples of this would be homework, projects, studying. So I just wrote free for now. As a student, those are probably the free things you want to do. So it is to manage the time to do these things that they need to do for school. Now let's see if there's anything yet that we can group together. It doesn't look like it yet. One involves talking. The other one involves going. The third one involves doing. So not yet. Maybe there is a reason why she listed all 8 skills. Maybe there's very different because you have a lot of things to do in life, right? Okay. Now we're looking at something completely different. Instead of school or work, this is now something to do with the home. As you can see here, household. And the verb here is to contribute. So an 18-year-old must be able to contribute to the running of a household. Well, what does this mean? See if you can figure out what this means. If you are thinking about the times where you've been asked to maybe cook or wash the dishes or do laundry, you're right. Those are the parts of the jobs that you need to do in the house. So maybe you're thinking of housework. So this may be like cooking or cleaning. Or maybe you need to fix something, you know. So let's see what else the author has to say. We don't ask them to help much around the house. So this is different than knowing their way around, even though the word around is used here. But it's to do things in the house. Because the checklisted childhood leaves little time in the day for anything aside from academic and extracurricular work. So this means like school and maybe sports, for example. Okay, so because the child's schedule is so busy, or because there's too much time on the person's hands, that means you're just not doing anything. So kids don't get, or young adults do not know how to do housework. So, and this also includes, according to the article, looking after their own needs. So, cooking their own food, for example. If they can't cook for the family, at least they need to be able to cook for themselves. Seems to be what the author is saying. Or do their own laundry. Do their own laundry. Or at least folding their clothes, for example. Respect the needs of others. An example might be tidying up or cleaning up. It may even be something as simple as putting the toilet seat down when you're finished using the washroom, for example. And doing their fair share for the good of the whole. So if you're not living by yourself, whether you're living with a roommate or you live with your family, there are other people in the house. So it would be good to do things that would be helpful. not just to pretend it's your own house and do only what you want. So this apparently, according to the author, is another important skill which contributes to the running of a household. So it's more than just housework, it seems, but there's also respect and to help others for their good. So let's see how we might be able to paraphrase and summarize this skill. The ability to, I'm going to put it this way, take care of themselves and others at home, because the focus is at home. So here, to take care of themselves and others. So examples may be cooking, cleaning, fixing. So far I've listed 3 examples from each one of these. 2 or 3. So now I have a rough idea, since I'm looking at a different thing now. This is at home. So these would be sort of school or work. Skills for school and work, and then maybe the next 2 to 3 skills may have to do with skills at home. Okay. Number 5 and 6 looks related. They look related. So let's take a look. Now, number 4 had to do with the home. Have to do with living at home. This one has to do with talking to other people, interpersonal. And number 6, I'll speed this up by doing 2 at a time now. Coping with ups and downs. So it has to do with one person. Intrapersonal. It's a little vocabulary there. So intra versus inter. Inter is, 2 people. A, B. Interest is you. Okay, so there are problems. You may have problems with other people. I might have problems with other people, and I have to deal with those. You might have your own problems in life or school or work. I might have problems in my school and work and family. And the idea is, for both of these skills, is to be able to handle or to cope with them. It seems that the author has divided the skills into interpersonal and personal, because both are important, and while they're similar, they are different at the same time, because, well, one, you're dealing with other people, and the second one is you're dealing with yourself. It seems, though, that the key verb here is to be able to handle or to cope. Maybe another word you can think of is to deal with. Deal with, or maybe to solve them if there are problems, you see. So let's take a look at the crutch. We step in, so again, parents step in to solve, see? Solve problems. Solve misunderstandings, so that's a type of problem. Soothe hurt feelings, so that's kind of to help them, to calm them down. For them. So if the parents are helping too much, are the young adults solving their own problems or coping on their own? Not really. Young adults don't know how, so they say they don't know because they haven't been taught or they haven't practiced how to cope with or resolve. So that's another word you could use. Conflicts. So that's another problem too, isn't it? Without our intervention. So intervention would be stepping in. Let's see if this crutch is similar to the next one. We step in. So again, the same. Parents step in again. When things get hard, so that's a kind of problem, that's a down. Finish the task, extend the deadline, and talk to adults. Kids, again, that's young adults, don't know. And I think the key here for the author is they don't have the skill, so they don't know that in the normal course of life, things don't always go their way. So that's sort of a fact, I guess. And they'll be okay regardless, provided that they sort of know how to deal with and resolve the problem. So looking at these two skills together, you find a lot of similar words. So the ability to handle or to cope with problems. So those are similarities. And the difference sort of between them is one is interpersonal and the other one is personal, dealing with other people. And dealing with yourself. Okay, and then the rest of these include certain details. What kind of problems you would have, or ups and downs. With other people, you may have conflict, right? Maybe a disagreement. Okay, or some sort of argument. Not your academic argument essay, but like an argument. You argue with people, or they argue with you. Personal problems may be, things get hard. A deadline you need to meet. Things like that. So let's see if we can write these in our own notes now. The ability to... So the first one is interpersonal. I'd say deal with conflicts with other people. Okay, and so here's the deal with, and then the next one, the ability to I'm trying to think of a word here. So the words they had were solve, cope, could use those, cope with their own problems. So I had conflicts and problems. Again, I have my notes, and I may know of another word that I can use here later. Maybe I can check the dictionary or the source to see if I want to change that. I may or may not need to, depending on how I choose to paraphrase and summarize. So if I were to find some examples, it may be disagreements. I'll just use one for now. It might be good to find more. I'm just saving space. Cope with their own problems. Well, maybe I put something like disappointment. Things don't go their way. Like you were expecting an A. Let's say you got a C or B. And it's like, no, that's not what I wanted. How do I cope with that? How do I say that's okay? So here we have one that's for the home. But it's also like other people, but for now I'm just going to group it this way, and this is sort of personal or life skills in life. Okay, we're almost done. 2 more skills. Now these two are not really related, but very important skills nevertheless. Let's take a look. Money. Okay, skill number 7, it reads, an 18-year-old must be able to do what? To earn, 2 things here, earn and manage money. It seems that this person wants to say that young adults should learn to do earning and managing the money. more than just spending, I guess. Now let's see what the crutch says. Young adults don't hold part-time jobs. They receive money from us, so I guess that's another verb with money. So instead of earning the money and managing them, they just get money, according to the author, from us, and I guess that's parents. Consider your life as an international student to see if that's true. For what they ever want, whatever they want or need. Think about the things that you said you wanted and you asked your parents for. Maybe an iPhone, or a MacBook, or a Galaxy, whatever. See if that's true in your life. But again, let's see what the author is saying. Kids, that's young adults, don't develop, so that's a verb there, a sense of responsibility for completing job tasks, so that's to work, to earn money, accountability to a boss who doesn't inherently love them. So this is still part of work and earning money, and in order to work for a long time, you may consider, oh, okay, I need to earn the trust of my boss who doesn't love me as a parent would, and appreciate the cost of things. So knowing the value of things. So it would be considering, for example, oh, if something is cheap or expensive, and whether you want to buy an expensive thing or a cheap thing, and why you would want to buy an expensive thing. Is it just because of, oh, I want to look good, or I like it, or is it, oh, this will last a long time? So the value of things as well as the cost, perhaps, and how to manage money. It's like, oh, how do I want to spend $100? Do I want to spend all $100 on one thing, or use $20 for something that's less important and $80 for something that's more important? So this, according to the author, is a very important skill because, one, you may not always be receiving money from your parents, and two, you may want to work for your money, and so you have to manage the money that you're earning. But the two things here is that you need to find some way, according to the author, to get money. And here it says earn, so not stealing or cheating or robbing, and how to manage, how to use the money wisely, not just to spend it. Alright, again, speeding up, I'm going to look at both 7 and 8. So here, an 18-year-old must be able to do something, take risks. So risks involve things you don't know about, or something that you do but you might not know what is exactly going to happen. So a word maybe here is uncertainty. And the crutch may explain why. Parents, here it says, laid out their entire path for them and avoided risks, deal with uncertainty. So parents laid down the entire path for them and avoided pitfalls or prevented all stumbles for them. So pitfalls might be things like traps or dangers. Stumbles may be like mistakes. So path may be things like, your studies, like they tell you where to study and what to study, and maybe even what kind of job you have to do. Maybe your parents are asking you to take over their business in a factory or something. That's my guess. Whatever it is, according to the author is saying that parents may have a tendency to plan their children's life for them, and she's saying that the parents should let the child build the skills that they need to deal with the uncertainties of life and make plans on their own. So to develop the wise understanding that success comes only after trying and failing and trying again. So she uses the word grit here and resilience. So it's kind of like coping. And grit would be maybe a word in perseverance, to keep going. It comes with, see, coping when things have gone wrong. So the first of these two talks about earning and managing money. It's an important life skill. And the second one, here's the 8th skill, talks about dealing with risks. So let's see how we might paraphrase these skills. The ability to, I'm going to use the word here, use. Oh, no, it's not just use. I would have lost the meaning of earning money. To earn and use money wisely. And the ability to something to do with risks. Trying to use some other word other than take, may not find it. I'm thinking of words like prepare for risks or handle risks. I might go with that. Handle risks and uncertainty. Well, I know this word. Risks are things that may be dangerous. Uncertainty are things that you may not know what's going to happen. So I'll stick with that. So examples may be the future, future plans. Uncertainty might be things that have gone wrong. So maybe accidents. Or mistakes. Here notice, coping with the problems may be your own mistakes, but sometimes there may be things outside of your control. Things I can't control. Like maybe a family member gets ill. Don't want that to happen, but sometimes it might. You know, back to the money one. Example, it's to work and to stay working, and then maybe to invest and save money instead of just spending it. Okay, so now that I've covered all 8 skills and I've written notes, at this point I no longer need to read the article anymore. I've written all the details, and if I were to do a word count, this has fewer words than the article itself. I've only taken down things that I understand to be important in my notes, you see? And now I can work with my notes to group things together for my summary. So let's see if I grouped 1, 2, 3 as life skills for school and work. Number 4 is skills for the home. Number 5 and 6 for now is like personal, for your personal life. And well, this one has to do with your finances. And I may be more inclined to just group number 8 with number 5 and 6, because it still has to do with your personal life in terms of your future and anything that you may be outside of your control. So I've grouped 4 things. So if I were to write Q's now, I might say, oh, well, the thesis statement. And then I would have, let's say, supporting points.
I've got 3 for mine, from 0 yesterday.
So in my thesis, you might say 8 skills.
Yeah, what? I think they're mostly at least one is
to succeed.
Sociology, so yeah, good they're getting a jump on it because maybe they.
So maybe like young adults need to learn these 8 skills in order to succeed or to do well. And I might have a sentence that says, for me, I found that these 8 skills, for example. So I have my cues. Well, my first cue is the thesis statement, and my next cue would be the supporting points. What kind of skills are they? Can be divided into 4 groups. Well, here's my cue for the skills. So the first group would be skills for school and work. The next set of skills could be for skills for the home or living at home. The next set of skills could be for skills for your personal life. And the last set of skill, or just the skill really, skills for your finances. So now, instead of just paraphrasing the 8 skills, I've done a bit of work into grouping the skills together based on their similarities and themes. So instead of writing 8 paraphrases or trying to group them in a bunch of sentences, I've organized them into 4 separate sentences. And then finally, the conclusion. So the conclusion may be sort of the rationale here, like the reason why she had these. But it seems, remember that the author is a parent. I'll write this down too. She's a parent too, and she's writing to other parents. To other parents. And she did say something about, because their parents love them and they want to do more for them, they end up not giving the young adults the opportunity to learn the skills on their own. So the rationale may be, the purpose of this may be to say, the author wants young adults to sort of take responsibility or learn on their own. Okay. So here I would have my 6 sentences for now. I have a thesis statement, I have my supporting points, which are 4 sentences, and a conclusion for the summary. In this case, I'm writing the rationale for why the author has written this article or shared these 8 skills in particular. And so in my Cornell notes, in the summary, I might say, okay, I can review. Did I have a topic sentence? I may or may not. The topic sentence is life skills for young adults. It's really hard to read. Life skills for young adults. That's the topic. The main idea of the article, well, they, being the young adults, I'll just actually write young adults. Young adults need to learn these skills to succeed. Okay, which is this very similar to this sentence. And check if the wording is clear. One way to help yourself find clear wording is to take the notes, have your notes in point form, and then use those points to make your sentences. That will make things clearer for you. Okay, now I can also check here. How many supporting ideas do I have? We have 4, so it's not all 8 of them. Did I just paraphrase or did I summarize here? Well, if I were to just write all 8 sentences for each of the skills, I would be just paraphrasing. But instead, we have summarized. I've grouped the skills together. Did I include evidence? Well, in the details, yes. But in the summary, when you write the summary, you would need to use maybe some examples. And you can check your notes. That's why I included examples in the notes, so then I can use those instead. Is the organization clear to the reader? Well, it depends on how well you take the notes. Remember the structure for your summary. If you follow the structure, then your organization would likely be clear. Right now, I didn't use any transition words in the notes, but you're going to want to try and pick some transition words when you write the summary itself. Think of words like first, second, first, third, and so on, and in conclusion. Those would be your transition words that you use. And finally, well, we're not there yet, but once you finish writing your summary, after you've taken your notes and looked at it and thought about it, then you can actually review your paragraph for grammar points. Notice the grammar part is last. You need to do all these first. So those are the main ideas and the content part. Okay. And finally, that's the references. So we're done there. So how would I summarize this? If I were to summarize the notes I've taken, well, this is so I might say something like this. This is the notes for Flipkart Times article on, well, you write the topic here. What life skills young adults need to succeed in, I don't know, life. So summary here, I would be summarizing all the notes that you've taken here. So this is to summarize this. And it helps you to think about what you're writing one more time to see if you really know what you're summarizing here. Notice that at the end of this video, we went from a blank page to a full page, and this is all the writing. And writing is thinking. So the time you spent writing like this is really time spent thinking about the article, and it's thinking on paper, and now you can take this thinking into your writing for your summary. So hope this video was helpful. Now you've gone through a demonstration on how to take notes on reading an article, grouping the main points together, locating the thesis statement, and finding a rationale as a conclusion for an article. So stay tuned for more videos, and if you have any questions, you can always post in the forum or just email me directly. Wish you the best of luck in your first assignment.